Welcome back to the Breakdown, episode 20, mate. It's fluent, isn't it?
Mad. Amazing.
Brilliant. So we're delighted to bring our partner, TalkSport Bet, as we keep growing the Breakdown. Obviously, you all know about TalkSport, but do you know about TalkSport Bet? There's one of the biggest bookies in the UK with Alan McCoist as their ambassador. We're delighted to say they're sponsoring us this season. And they've got a brilliant offer for the Breakdown viewers and listeners. Bet £10 and get £40 in free bets. Did you ever bet in the Grand National?
I never, but how bad were our picks for last week?
I know.
Terrible.
The Grand National, I think between us all, we'd come full family and friends and that. We watched it down south.
Did you see that person that had 100 grand on the winner of the Grand National?
Way.
100 grand at 8 to 1, mate. We're in the wrong sport.
I think I spread my bets about 100 grand's worth and still never won. They had the full field at one point.
The only horse that finished, you didn't bet.
Aye. So that's 40 quid in free bets if you bet a tenner. What a deal. Just head to talksportbet.com/breakdown to get involved. It's not just that. They've got massive super boost, daily price boost, the best odds guaranteed, and the horses as well. Don't miss out. Go to talksportbet.com/breakdown and claim the offer. 18 plus T&Cs apply.
Good weekend, mate.
Oh, mate, what
Nice wee break you had.
What about that? Dave had Rangers at the title race at 2-0. Gone. Gave us a full script on how they're done and they're finished and they're no good enough. And now he's come in buzzing.
To be fair, obviously you're going. I was there. Obviously, you're going live, aren't you? So you're being a bit critical with the stakes being so high.
I never thought they'd come back.
Well, nah.
Did you at that point?
Know the way they were performing, but the fact that they've been scoring loads of goals recently, I didn't think you could write them off. I definitely thought it was going to be Danny Röhl's biggest half-time team talk if they'd went in 2-0 behind. The goal, obviously, the Chukwani gets, that kind of gets their tails up, and I suppose it changes the narrative of what Danny would have said to them at half-time. But by the way, second half, they were brilliant.
Brilliant, and I don't think he doesn't strike me as the type of guy to be very motivational.
Well, he said afterwards that he was quite calm. He gave them some tactical bits, which I was pleased by in his post-match interview, to say that quite a few of the players had choice words to say to each other. It took, I think, didn't quote me on the time, but I remember saying it on the radio. I think it was Henderson had nicked the ball off of somebody on the edge of the box and he had hit a shot. Bear in mind, Henderson is obviously centre-back. It was like a second phase. He had won it back. Falkirk had kept the pressure on, and Big Fernandez had kind of jumped out and made like a lunge and slide tackle block. Mm-hmm. It come to nothing. But off the back of that, he reacted. It felt like he was angling at Chukwani. I don't know what it was obviously said because you're in the gantry, but it was, I said it on commentary, it was the first bit of fire that I had seen. And at that time, they were 2-0 down. And they were on the ropes a wee bit. But I thought maybe, without creating anything, it felt like the tide had turned a wee bit. It looked like Falkirk were getting a wee bit leggy. I know that sounds a bit stupid, but they'd put a lot of effort in the first half. They'd been brilliant. They had got in behind Rangers loads. They had attacked loads. Their energy without the ball was brilliant. They'd won all the second balls, all the wee duels, all the tussles in the middle of the pitch. But Rangers were just starting to get a wee bit more comfortable possession and playing without creating anything a wee bit more in the Falkirk.
Why has he got away from the two up front? You know, like that. I always thought that's where he stumbled across his best formation, and he's...
Well, see when he brought Miofsky on at half time, I thought it looked to me that it was Rangers were finding it difficult to get in behind Falkirk, and Cole Donaldson and Liam Henderson were brilliant against Shermitty. They had that safety net that you like as a centre back pair in the 2v1. One got really aggressive, really tight, and the other one was covering. And Rangers, even though they had Gassama, Mikey Moore, Asgard, and that they kind of forward attacking areas, not one was really willing to run in behind. But obviously we've seen in recent weeks Rangers, I think one of their biggest threats in behind, or one of their biggest outlets to get in behind, has been Romans. Aye. And obviously he never played, so I felt that Rangers really missed that. I felt like the front boys, including Raskin, including Chukwani, were all wanting to come towards the ball. None were willing to run beyond Shermitty, or anyone was willing to run in behind. Whereas when Miofsky come on in the second half, you then had Cole Donaldson and Liam Henderson playing up against the front two. So they never quite had that cover. Adams and Lisa for Falkirk are both, Lisa more so, on the left, are both quite attacking minded. Adams less so. And I think it left Falkirk quite vulnerable. And I have to say, mate, I don't know how much you watched it, but Nico Raskin was was as good a performance individually. Everything you would expect, which I questioned at time, who was going to be the leader, who was going to be the one that could grab it by the scruff of the neck, who was going to be the one that would get tight, that would drive the team up, would get the team back in the, bear in mind the sixth game, but you were off the back of that game, you were 5 games to try and win a title. And I was probably quite critical, only because I want to see them do well, and obviously it's your ex-club, and I could sense the frustration for the travelling support. I know how close they are, and their lacklustre performance really worried me. It was a concern, but I have to say in the second half, mate, they were. Miovski I thought was brilliant. Shermiti obviously gets his couple goals. By the way, he could have scored 4.
It suits him so much more with another striker beside him.
And Nadiri's obviously a big miss, and I think the one I can't answer your question without going round the doors. I think if Nadiri had been fit, mate.
Do you think he likes Miovski?
I'm not sure. I do like him. I think
I get the feeling Röhl doesn't like him, though, do you?
I think he plays between the sticks, mate. He harries, he presses, I think he brings good energy. He obviously looked like he was going to be the player that the Rangers fans thought they were getting, and then he hurt his hamstring that time and he missed a few weeks. He come back, he wasn't in the team. Maybe the team weren't quite performing at their brilliant best, and he looked like he was going to be a bit part player. And obviously then when they then signed Nadiri, it looks like he's, the natural thing is you feel as though he's not really having him. But like I mentioned it before we even started, it was Ian McCall actually who I was doing the co-commentary on, that 8 international players on the bench, and then they're bringing on guys like Antman, who's never really hit the ground running. Really started off, he looked like an absolute world beater in the European game, but he comes on and like, what a bit of firepower for Rangers to have, mate, when teams start to get tired that last half hour, and you're bringing on Miovski at half time, albeit Mikey Moore's only just come back for injury, had a wee niggle, didn't quite look his cell. So if that 45 minutes can get him back up to speed, then there's real optimism for Rangers, mate. I seen the banner at the end, keep believing, and it's I suppose off the back of that it'll have given the players a good bit of belief.
You fancy them now?
I've said to you I fancy them for a while. I just don't. I think they've got the firepower, which I'm not so sure the other ones have. The goal difference, we've mentioned it on the previous.
Some amount of goals, isn't they? So one thing they've got ahead of Celtic, definitely.
And Hearts, mate. I know Hearts got 3 at the weekend, obviously, but I'm right in saying I think that's 14 in the last 3 games for Rangers, which is incredible. Well, it's worrying for everybody else, mate. But the Achilles heel for them is they've obviously conceded 3. And the goals were, for a Falkirk perspective, mate, I thought they were absolutely terrific. I thought Dylan Tate in the middle of the pitch was brilliant. Calvin Miller, who I know is a mate of yours, gave Tav a real difficult time in that first half. Barney Stewart, the journey that he's come on for, like kind of in the non-leagues to going all the way to scoring a hat-trick in the Premier League against Hibs.
I think Magoma and Fernandez need to do better though for the first goal. It's not a great ball for Calvin Miller. The two of them.
It kind of gets dragged back a wee bit, doesn't it? The biggest concern for me, I thought, watching the game, was how many times, obviously people are not watching you, but how I threw my hands up in the air a few times, like sitting next to Colley and Al Lamont, like how easy it was for Falkirk to get down the sides and in behind. And I think Tav's starting position, I felt Tav, the initial tactic was to make Calvin Miller go back and become almost like a second fullback, and nullify what Calvin Miller's really good at going forward and being a real threat for Falkirk. Whereas Falkirk were really brave, and they kind of congested the middle of the pitch, and when the ball turned over, so Calvin Miller kind of tucked in out of possession, but as soon as the ball turned over, he then utilised the space that Tav was leaving, and Rangers never played over Calvin Miller particularly well. And Lisa, I don't know if you've seen much of Lisa, mate, the left back, like,
no.
Really good, mate. On loan for Swansea, I'm sure. Please don't quote me on that, but I'm sure he's on loan for Swansea, but really good, mate. Attacking minded though, typical modern day fullback, but he can defend, but obviously he always has that one eye, links up really well with Calvin Miller, gets forward.
Well, that's where the first goal came from, wasn't it? Fernandez ends up having to go out and the ball comes in for Miller. And
you know better than anyone, being a centre back, like the last thing Diego and Fernandez want to do is have to run the channels to. I said it on commentary, I don't know if you agree, I thought Rangers were, rather than anticipating, which I think the good players do, you anticipate the danger and you get there quick and you deal with it. I thought they were really reactive to the ball when it then allowed Barney Stewarts, etc., to get in behind.
And that's why I think sometimes when you get the speed of Jigger and your speed of Fernandez, defensive instincts are maybe no there because they've always relied on their pace for a young age to get out of a situation. So pace is obviously a good thing, and every player wants to be quick. Wish I had done an extra yard of pace. but it made me read the game, so there's a lot of things it does give you, and I felt that Fernandez was slow getting out, and the ball in the box was. Do you think Tavernier's a bit of an issue? Do you think that's why Obviously, he's been brilliant for Rangers. I'm taking nothing away from him. I mean, do you think that's why Röhl clearly prefers Sterling?
I think if Danny Röhl picked his strongest back four, he would pick Romans, obviously, if he was available and fit. I'm sure he said that Dujan Sterling was fit, but they didn't want to risk him on the AstroTurf. Same again, didn't quote me on that. I just briefly remember him talking about some of the injured players afterwards. When he mentioned a player without catching his name, I missed it. I've seen photos of Dujan Sterling being back on the pitch. I think Dujan Sterling, if the game had been on the grass, would play it right back. But listen, I think what Tav brings you, the leadership qualities, and I know people, when you represent a club like Rangers and you've been there for that long, you're always there to get shot at. You know that better than anyone. But I think a lot of the Rangers players will look up to Tav, because I know him as a person without knowing him overly well, but I've been in the building as a coach when he's been in there, through different managers and different times when I've been in there. He's maybe not the most brilliant defender in the world, but what he gives you and the responsibility he takes as an individual, I don't think you could ever question. But I'm contradicting myself a wee bit, because I do think if the manager did pick his strongest starting 11 to win a game tomorrow and it was on the grass, I think Dujan Sterling plays in front of him.
Would you give Tavernier a new deal then?
I would, just to have a... Listen, I'm saying I would, but there's no me that has to pay the money, because he'll be one of the highest earners, I presume. But I know the Americans are quite clever with these new profiling type deals that they're giving away. When you start to age, you didn't quite earn as much money, so Tav might fancy going abroad or going somewhere, you know what I mean, pastures new or whatever, but...
They might be able to soften the blow with a testimonial or something.
Well, testimonial, aye. Listen, I
How
think...
far away is he for that, Dave, do you know?
I think he's there, isn't he?
Is he, aye?
I think this is his... Either next year will be his 10th season, or it's just due to finish 10th season, so... Aye. Listen, I would, mate, just because of what his goal scoring record, his delivery alone, and listen, I know you can't just bring him on and take a penalty or a set piece. We're not playing American football, but I would, mate. And I know Barry's obviously a friend of mine, and he spoke about the responsibility and how he trains every day when he was the manager. So I think it's easy for us to, well, not us, but it's maybe easy for the general public to criticise the players and when they didn't have a good game or whatever. But institution is a football player, he's never injured. Touch wood for him, he had that knee injury that allowed Nathan Patterson to get an opportunity when he hurt his knee in Europe a good few years back. But apart from that, he trains every day, mate. The numbers that he gets, he sets the standard. And I know people go, he sets the standard, never won any trophies or whatever. But listen, I don't think people should ever be disrespectful for the fact that you're playing against a rival that's a good team as well, that have got every right to win these trophies as well. Yeah. It's not as easy as just saying, I represent Rangers, I need to win trophies. If you didn't win trophies, you're not a very good player. Aye. You know what I mean? So I think I would give him a new deal, mate. But I thought Rangers, second half especially, first half really lacklustre, and I was frustrated with the level of performance that they put on. But second half, I thought they were absolutely brilliant.
It surprised me a bit. I don't know how many times this year, Dave, you might know they've come back for being down, but I didn't think at 2-0. I thought, listen, they're beat. Might come back and get a goal, but they'll not come back with 2 goals down. I couldn't believe it. They done it. Fair play to them. But Danny Röhl, I think his instinct is to get an extra midfielder in there. Or maybe he just doesn't like Miovski that much that he thinks Asgard's a better option. But I think Danny Röhl, if he's not learned by now, Rangers are best when they're Chermiti. Get the best out of Chermiti, who's an £8 million striker. When you've got somebody beside them, you need to get the best out of your players. I
just thought having that wee bit more space for Raskin to drive into, just with Chukwani having a wee bit more of a disciplined role. Conor Barron obviously come on later, and they kind of stuck to kind of a 3-man midfield. But I think when Raskin, people think that he's ill-disciplined, mate, and he's maybe wasted. I think he's wasted because he's so talented, going and dropping in between the centre-backs.
Aye.
I just didn't see the point of him being there. Whereas when he played the way he played yesterday, and I'm saying this and I'm quoting it, he's no Barry Ferguson, but it was a Barry Ferguson type performance. He's got a long way to go to get anywhere near Barry, but that type of personality, he was in people's faces. You can see his legs, his bum. He's got that power, to get close to people and win it back and drive away. He obviously scores his goal. I know you're not sure about Bainey. But then he has the brilliant ball in, albeit Falkirk will be disappointed with it for the Miovski one. But just his general play, mate, how he drove the team up the pitch, how he won it back, his energy to get it back. He left one on Dylan Tate, literally right in the start of the second half. He had another coming together in the middle of the pitch. He could easily found himself getting booked. He did eventually get booked. But just his whole personality, mate, I was watching him thinking, he looks tops the way he played in that second half. So if he can continue that form for these next 5 games, he'll give Rangers as good a chance as anyone.
And they need everybody, don't they? Rangers favourites now, I think, are they?
Well, Hearts, your beloved Jambos, mate, will still be favourites because they're still top of the league.
It's theirs to win.
I was watching the reports.
Theirs to lose, sorry.
I was watching the reports coming through Gordon Duncan, and obviously he's a Motherwell fan, isn't he? And I could see the anguish in his face when obviously Hearts scored when the penalty obviously.
Well, let's get to it, right? Motherwell will obviously miss an absolute sitter. Last minute, he needs to square it or score it. One of the two.
He's got more time than I think he thinks, isn't he? But you'd bet on him to score as well,
100%. Do you think it's a penalty though to Hearts?
Oh, like I've genuinely looked at so many different things. We've even been listening to is it Dermot? What's his name? Dermot Gallagher, is that his name? Dermot Gallagher and Jay Bothroyd. Obviously, like the Sky Sports, the referee watch, etc., etc.
Have you ever heard Dermot Gallagher's normal accent?
Does he speak different?
Have you ever heard that, Dave?
No, I've never heard that.
Right, so Dermot Gallagher speaks with an English accent on Sky Sports, but he's proper Northern Irish.
Is he?
Aye.
Why does he do that?
Don't know. It's mad to see. It's mental. Just so people understand him or something, I don't know.
So I've seen that many things say that the rule, if you put your head down towards the ball, obviously, and you're not going up for a header, like if you duck down to go and hit and somebody hits you in the head, it's kind of you in danger. And
aye, so if your head is in a position that's endangering yourself, it's a free kick to the opposition. So it's a free kick to Motherwell.
I know, but Matt, you can't just be kicking him in the head though, you know what I mean?
But he's tried to kick the ball and he's put his head in there.
I know.
I know you can't kick people in the box, but the rule is if your head, because you can't.
So you don't think it's a penalty?
No, it's not a penalty because you can't head the ball yard 3 inches for the ground, right? But also then and get a penalty. But also then when somebody puts their foot up when you're heading it up there, you also get a free kick. So you can just put your head wherever you want.
No, I totally get it. It's like that one where you kind of fall in it and you. The natural instinct is to, like, if you can't obviously touch it with your arm, you would obviously.
Somebody's going to get a head kicked after they start heading it like that.
But I just think that it's Stephen Welsh, isn't it, that obviously kicks him in the back of the head.
He goes to clear the ball's in the ground, and he
misses the ball and kicks him in the head though.
Because he hits it. But if it's the boy's foot and he toes it and you kick his foot, it's a penalty.
I suppose the argument is if that happened somewhere in the middle of the pitch, you would expect it to be a free kick to Motherwell.
Free kick to Motherwell. That's the rules of the game. It's a free kick to Motherwell. The rules of the game. How they came to that conclusion.
Well, especially when they have obviously the time to go to VAR and talk it through and obviously go to. As soon as the referee,
I got the rules in 2 minutes in ChatGPT. Surely in the VAR room they've got a phone, they can just type it in.
I think you should send Willie Collum an email, mate.
Aye.
At your disgruntlement that the Jambos are being gifted the title.
I can't believe people are even saying it is a penalty. It's not a penalty. You can't heed the ball that low. You're putting yourself in danger, so it's a foul to Motherwell. Mental. Madness. But I was pleased for them.
Regions. Love it.
But that changes the full game, doesn't it?
It does.
They end up scoring another goal, but Jesus.
And by the way, like, when you the flip of that is like Lauren Shankland. Like, if ever you wanted somebody with the personality and the character to be able to step up when the stakes are
posting
so high,
that as well, wasn't
it? I did that. Obviously, I wasn't watching it. I've only seen the highlights, but Gordon Duncan's obviously face, and he's obviously got the Jambos behind, and obviously when he's prescribing it to Sky Sports, and then you hear the roar at Tynecastle.
So they've got to be favourites, like as in it's theirs to lose, innit? I know we keep saying it, but they can't be 5 games away if we win a title and no think it's theirs now.
They need to go to Easter Road, don't they, next game?
Aye. I will. That's been a difficult fixture for them, though, innit? They won it.
Aye. They've won 2 at Tynecastle, but they've either 2-1
last minute goals twice, and then they get beat at Easter Road.
Well, they got turned over at Easter Road, didn't they? But they ended up getting back into the game in the end, didn't they? But at one stage, when Bowie scored, it looked like it could have been 4 or 5 for Hibs. But
will you be watching it?
Aye.
Will you be singing "Sunshine on Leaf" if they win?
I don't know if I'm at a stage of my life singing "Sunshine on Leaf," but my boys will be. But I look forward to the game. It's a game. Because a sore one for Dave, really. But the good thing for, I suppose, for the title race for Rangers and Celtic's perspective, and the wee bit of animosity for Hearts is they've already beat them, and these games are obviously, as you know better than anyone, flip of the coin. It's like the form goes out the window, done it in the big derbies. But Hibs have got a good tendency bouncing back. I actually fancy them to go up to Aberdeen and win, mate, just the way Aberdeen, how poor they've been. But
that's a good result for Aberdeen, isn't it? Big result.
Huge, mate. And I actually never seen them beating Hibs, to be honest. After watching them at Ibrox a couple of weeks back against Rangers, I thought, oh.
Surely they had to show some fight at some point, though, because they're scarily close to the relegation. You're expecting, right, let's see what you go now.
That might just give them the wee bit of breathing space that they need, but then they're all going to cut each other's throat because they're all going to need to play each other, aren't they, in these next 5 games, the post-split games. So it's I cannot call it, mate. I don't know who's going to go down. Livingston look like, obviously, it's not mathematically official yet, is it?
They're virtually gone, aren't they?
But then you've obviously got Dundee, Kelly, St Mirren are not yet, obviously, they're right in it.
So Mirren are looking alright now, by the way. They
done a good job with Craig McLeish, hasn't he? And he's changed a bit, hasn't he?
He started to play a bit. I think he likes to. I was speaking to Jerry Murphy, who's good mates with him, says that he likes to play the opposite to like a Stephen Robinson.
Counter-attack Stephen Robinson.
Just maybe short passes and that. They cut through Celtic a few times.
Do you think Stephen Robinson will change the way he plays when he recruits in the summer for what his Aberdeen team would want to look like? Well,
that's what's interesting, because a lot of managers say, and I've heard Steve Robinson say, listen, this is our budget, this is how we want to play based on the players we've got, and I would obviously love to play expansive football, but I don't have the players. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with the budget at Aberdeen. First of all, will they give him that budget? Secondly, do you then go, right, well, how do I want to play? I can't see it. I think Steve Robinson naturally is a manager that plays in a counter-attack and with big physical players, athletic players. I think he'll recruit for that. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes and tries and gets a couple of St Mirren players.
Yeah, well, Mark O'Hara would be one that you would, Gogic and that, guys that have done him really well.
O'Hara, definitely.
I suppose it'll depend if they're out of contract or if they're available, but I am quite intrigued to see, because not that I know that much about Aberdeen Football Club, but they're a huge club and a big expectation, and I'm not so sure they'll be happy to kind of surrender possession and be quite direct and play in a counter-attack. They'll, at home at Pittodrie, they'll expect an Aberdeen team to take it to the opposition.
I don't think the fans will be patient, them sitting in and waiting.
It'll be interesting, because his Motherwell team weren't quite as counter-attacky as what his St Mirren team were, though. I never really seen much of his Morecambe team.
I can't remember.
I know Dermot O'Carroll really well, because I've done my pro licence with him, and Dermot was like really, really good, like top coach, and but to me it felt like he was, as a coach would do, the integrating the instructions of Stephen Robinson, putting it into practice, if that makes sense. Because I've actually watched a wee thing where he done a session with the academy kids, which would have been brilliant for them. Obviously, first team coach, assistant manager going down and taking a session, and it looked very like when the ball turned over, run forward quick and play forward quick, which is great. But it'll be interesting to see if they can implement that. Obviously, Demo's not there anymore. Do you know what I mean? It'll be interesting. He left Newcastle. He's at a team in Europe.
Is he?
Aye. Dave will search it for us. He left Newcastle, maybe. I think
good reputation. He's a coach. He was a young lad, well, a couple of years younger than me. Same age as Sign, that.
Good mate.
Coming through.
Well spoken, well presented. Does a lot for the Irish FA as well when it comes to presenting on courses, etc. He's well spoken, mate, well organised. It'd be great to actually get him on here. He's a tactical type guy, mate. He's a analysis type stuff, if you know what I mean. But really cute and clever, mate. Quite an impressive individual, to be fair to him.
His Celtic game, mate. Celtic, no great performance. Again, usual.
But winning,
Oxlade-Chamberlain scored one. It was offside, and then has the goal. Again, Celtic just keep nicking results, mate. I don't know how you can keep continuing to do that. Obviously, clean sheet. Although St Mirren did play a couple of times. I just worry about Celtic off the ball a wee bit as well. They go with this kind of 4-4-2 press, but it leaves the midfield exposed with 3v2 in there, and
passive.
And they end up getting played through. Because they don't press with enough intensity or squeeze them on one side for me enough. And they end up getting exposed. So I don't know, man.
Do you feel that because the back line is not squeezed high enough? Or?
Well, the back line were occupied with two strikers, so you can understand why they're no high enough. it's that old one, isn't it, where midfielders are annoyed at the back line on the up and the back line are annoyed at midfielder.
Scotty used to shout at you about that.
Constantly, mate. I spent my whole career arguing with midfielders about how deep.
I think a lot of it, I think it's quite a good thing to talk about, just off the cuff really, before we go into what you think about Celtic. Is a lot of people will not understand that the lines between the back line and the midfield line will allow someone, like when I played, I didn't want my back line to be too deep so that I could lock on and get tight.
Yeah. And
obviously when the ball got hooked over me, if I never got there and my back line was so deep, it left a big horrible space.
Yeah. So let's do this on the board actually.
Like you're talking about obviously pressing the ball, do you know what I mean? But if I would just use Callum McGregor as an example, like he's obviously the one that would probably anchor that midfield, but if he wants to really be aggressive, like what Raskin was like for Rangers on Sunday, to be able to go and step on and influence the midfielder that you're playing against, if the gap, this horrible space in here is too big, like for a midfielder, especially a deepest line midfielder, he doesn't want to go and lock on in here.
Yeah.
Because if it gets hooked over your head, you're in no man's land. Whereas if everything's squeezed like this, and this gap's so much tighter, then it allows you that bit. Because really, if it gets played through you, you're close enough to be able to get there.
Yeah.
If he's dropping in here. But it allows you to go and influence this one, if you've got a good back line and it forces them to go long, you just...
So that's a midfielder's point of view, right? And it's really interesting because I've done both, but a lot of time I was centre back, so my argument would be, if I'm stood that high up, help me use, which is where I want to be, because I want to help the team like that, but there's no pressure on this ball. My fear would always have been getting spun down the side to here, and then a foot race facing my own goal.
Aye, well, I suppose that's the key, is to be able to lock on and to be able to play that high line when you're talking about the Celtic
there needs to be pressure on the ball. So
that's
that's an unwritten rule in football. If you're going to get a high line, you need to have pressure on the ball. I feel at Celtic, I'm not getting pressure on the ball, so you can understand maybe why they're a wee bit deeper, creating the space in midfield like that. So Motherwell, St Mirren built in a 3 against Celtic's 2, so Celtic couldn't get close enough or force him to one side. Usually you would maybe get him to one side, force him there so he can't come back, and then he's locked on that side. But Celtic weren't doing that, and it was allowing them to play out. And if you look at the chance, the best chance St Mirren had, they played in here, bit of pressure, too late, not enough of a pressure comes for here, and then they just play it through the middle. And what's the boy's name, the midfielder, the big boy, Phillips, turns and then slips. I'm sure it's the inside Ralston, and he goes through, ends up having a shot. But it's that one that we speak about, mate. I don't think Celtic organised press for the front is good enough. I don't think they show a team one side. Nigering off the ball's no great. You miss Maeda up there initiating the press. Vinchara's a strong runner, but again, you can't do it yourself. And that's a problem with Celtic. I think they need to get that right. They need to further running. Obviously on the ball as well, they're not having enough possession. They're not dominating teams and penning them in, and like their possession stats when you look at them compared, it's not like 60-40 or...
They just didn't look like a normal Celtic team.
Nah, they're no. They're and again, Tom, I go back to it, I think that they're stuck between ways of playing. They've got a 6'3" forward who naturally you then are tempted to play direct to him, and Martin O'Neill, I think, is that type of manager that likes to keep it simple. And you've got Sean Maloney who would like to play through the thirds. I think they're a wee bit in between styles. And listen, I wouldn't write them off in the title because they're grinding results out, which is the best thing you can do. But I think they've not had a great performance since Dundee United.
I know, it's amazing that they're still there.
That long, and then obviously decent against Motherwell, much better, but it's because you're expecting Motherwell. You're actually expecting Motherwell to be batter them a bit, and they never. Celtic obviously showed a good fighting performance, but it's going to be interesting, mate.
Are they going to be good enough to beat Rangers and Hearts at home?
They need to, don't they? Martin O'Neill's come in and said that.
All three teams, I suppose, need to win probably at least 4 games, don't they? Whichever team probably wins 4 will probably not be far away from... Because obviously they're going to cut each other's throat in there because they all need to play each other. So I think Hearts and Rangers are both more than capable against this current Celtic team to go to Celtic Park and score goals. And that would be the worry for a Celtic's perspective, is not being able to keep clean sheets against maybe the better teams, but also are they going to score enough goals?
Well,
So it looks like they've not quite got it. I think it's different if you're a bit vulnerable at the back, a bit like what you could argue with Rangers, but then they're banging them in, so they're almost outscoring their opposition, whereas Celtic are still that wee bit vulnerable, still conceding maybe, as you say, a bit too much possession and a bit too many chances, yet aren't they putting teams to the sword? Like scoring 3 against Motherwell, great a few weeks back, but these 1-0s
that's
getting them over the line.
I think Celtic's best chance of beating Rangers and beating Hearts has been as defensively solid as they were at Ibrox for the quarter-final.
One offering nothing going forward.
But offer a bit more, obviously, going forward. They offered 0 that day. In fact, I don't think they had a shot on target. So they need to be as defensively solid, defend their area like that. I think you're bang on. Celtic are not going to win games. Celtic are not capable of winning a game 6-3 like Rangers did yesterday, because they're nowhere near. They've not got a striker that's banging goals in. They're nowhere near creating the chances, and he actual misses one. But
yeah, they could easily been 3 up against Dundee.
They don't take the chances though. That's what I mean. So it's not the creating them. Sometimes it's the
execution.
It's the execution of them. The strikers an issue when they're creating them. They're not scoring them. When they're not creating loads, they're not keeping clean sheets. It's
the worrying thing though. For like a good, I know Celtic fans are aggrieved a wee bit, but they could still win a league and cup double, mate.
It would be
and I think that's the worry for everybody else. I said it on the radio yesterday that like they've not been at their best. They've sacked 2 managers and they might know win a league and cup double, but they're still in a position strong enough to be able to give themselves that opportunity, which is I think that's a worry for everybody else, because they've not been at their best. And I said that a bit yesterday for Rangers, first half performance lacklustre, second half brilliant. If Celtic can huff and puff and play as poorly as they have and sack 2 managers and still get over the line to the title, it's a real worry for everybody else.
When you look at Celtic, right, what Martin O'Neill's done, no Johnson, no Carter Vickers. Signings like Mvuka, Adamu, and I know he signed these guys, but I don't know how much money was available for him, because it's loan moves he's bringing in.
Aye.
Balakwisha sitting there, £5 million he takes up, does nothing. You go through that squad of players that Celtic have had to play with. If he wins this, no striker, Vinchara, no offered enough bits and pieces, but
it'll be the biggest smash and grab ever, won't it? Really?
It'll be the biggest achievement. I think it'll be Martin O'Neill's best title, considering the players he had back in the day. Doing it with this squad. And I know we see Martin O'Neill, it's Sean Maloney and McManus, and everybody gets their credit as well. But it would be some title win, mate. But I just think, and Martin O'Neill said that they need to be bang on now. They need to be perfect.
It's like that for all 3 though, isn't it?
Aye.
Like Danny Röhl, since he's coming to Rangers, walks the league with his form as a Rangers manager. He walks it, mate. They're out of sight. It's tied up.
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it?
Only lost 2 games, Rangers, this year. I
Danny Röhl's only lost 1.
Mental.
Like mad, and it's like, I think it's a natural thing because you obviously have an opinion, but you talk about big injuries. Like Hearts still top of the league with 5 games to go, and Shankland and Devlin missed the last 2 months.
I know.
And they're like, we talk about like Celtic not having a number 9. Like Hearts have basically lost their two of their best players, and one in Shankland. I think I know we've mentioned Braga would be the biggest loss really for what he brings to the team.
But still hanging in there.
Because they just keep on finding a way.
Was it you tweeted saying they're 8 points behind in March?
Nah, I'm glad I never. But I am looking forward to my day doing Gorgie with you though.
Oh, you coming down with me, aye?
Well, I need to support you. I'll need to be your bodyguard. I think Jambos like me, which is mad to think that any Hibs players like better off the Jambos than what you
Bring
are.
that rifle you've got.
I think we might need it, mate. Couple packs of bullets. Andy Robertson, mate. Leaving Liverpool, I seen his post. What a player.
Aye, mate, listen, what he's achieved for Liverpool and Scotland's second highest caps. So far, he'll overtake Kenny Dalglish, you'd imagine. Great player, but I just don't think Celtic should spend the budget on 2 left-backs. I think that he'd be brilliant if he was...
Said he's always wanted to play for Celtic.
I know, and I think he would be a great asset. I think he's only 33 or something. I think he'll play at his 40, having watched him, having played beside him, his attitude.
He's a 50-60 game a season.
Aye, the way he eats, the way he conducts himself, the way he trains, he's good for a changing room as well. I just think that it'd be amazing for Celtic, but I don't think, unless Celtic go, right, we're going to bring Andy Robertson, but we're still going to spend a lot of money on forward players, midfielders, where you want the money spent with high wages and transfer fees, then I go and bring him in. But having 2 left backs taking up the budget, I don't think would make sense for Celtic. And I've seen he's sort of linked with Spurs as well, so he might get a lot more wages there. Let's be honest, going to be a big part of
Could
his
they both play in
decision.
a Celtic team? You need to play 3-5-2, wouldn't it?
It's the same thing with Scott.
It's not Celtic formation, is it really?
Kieran Tierney could do a left back job, a left centre back job, you'd imagine, but no, I think there's too many. I'd be thinking 2 out and out left backs. Could Andy Robertson play up one? Could they go to a back 3? Too much things would need changed. I think. I just think that if Kieran Tierney wasn't there, it'd be a no-brainer for me. Get him in the door. But again, I feel for him sometimes in Scotland because like he plays well in that, but then people want everything for him. But he's really only a left back, and there's only so much a left back can give you, isn't there? Like you can be the best left back in the world, but you're not a striker, and you're not you know what I mean?
I know. I used to always think that a wee bit with Fletch. I always felt like Fletch, like, kind of played a kid with Fletch, and then kind of all the way to national team, albeit never played loads, but like I always felt like Fletch, like so much pressure on him because you're obviously Man United and like doing so well and like playing with all these superstars at Man United, and then coming in all due respect playing with us at Scotland, like he obviously was a midfielder, so he could influence the game 100%, and he'd done that in abundance. But like his role for like when he was at his best for Man United was like playing alongside Carrick and Scholes. Do you know what I mean? And like it was, and then when he come away with Scotland, it was like people. I always felt people thought he could like just dribble by everybody and score. And it's like
mate.
it's just such a.
When Röhl's game was running and being a bit of a destroyer, and he was nice on the ball as well. I'm not taking it away from him, but he wasn't.
Sir Alex utilised him in that role, and he was brilliant at it, wasn't he? Brilliant, great lad, brilliant player. A bit like what you say, like Fletch was always one of the people that like had a big influence on people within the squad, just how he was and what he'd achieved, and I've not obviously had the luck to play with Andy Robertson, but what you mentioned there about playing with him and great in the changing room and good person, how he lives his life, how he conducts himself, rubbing shoulders with the stars that these guys get to rub with day to day at the clubs. Then you then bring that to the national team. It's great wee bits to all the wee golden nuggets that you can steal off them.
Released for Celtic at 15, and he's going to be the biggest, the most cap holder. Scotland. That's.
Just shows you the way for any kid. I've seen I love listening to his story and his journey, and just shows you we've obviously got boys that are your boys obviously further up the ladder than my boys, but it just shows you never give up.
It's mad, eh? Right, Dave, we're on to viewers' questions.
Viewers' questions. Here's the first one from 20 Minute Tims.
Again.
Tims. I know.
Go on to 20 Minute Tims.
What's the mindset in the Rangers and Celtic dressing rooms right now, from a perspective as a player, knowing the league title's so close?
I think there's pressure, and you're just trying to tick off every game with a result, and just get the result however you do it. So the mindset is excitement, knowing it's touching distance. It's a bit stranger this year because there's 2 teams.
3.
Well, sorry, 2 teams. You and 2 teams. You and another 2 teams. So 3 teams going for it. The mindset. Tick the games off. I think let's every game. Let's get a result here. Let's knowing that there's teams either breathing down your neck or there's teams ahead of you that you need to catch. Constant pressure. For me, I remember just constant pressure in your daily life. It's like not just match day and training days. You're constantly people stopping in your street, people talking about it, people piling that pressure on you, and you know the only way to make it a successful season, and I'm sure the 3 of them will be in this mindset now, is if they don't win the title, it's been a failure of a season. I think they'll all be in that mindset.
I think there'd naturally be animosity, Dave, I would think. Bit nervousness, like that. I think when you look at the Rangers squad, we said that on radio yesterday, I think it's only Tav, 55, that's won a league title in the squad, which is an amazing stat. I'm presuming Celtic didn't have a million players either. We obviously the change of squad, but obviously Callum McGregor's the natural one that you obviously run to. Kieran Tierney's obviously been there before, so he's won multiple titles. Like when you go to the starting 11, Scales, obviously Alistair Johnson won it before Forrest. You know what I mean? So like, and then you've got some of your staff. You've got McManus, do you know what I mean? Sean, a manager that's already won titles. So all these wee things definitely.
So see when you're saying that helps, right? How does that help?
Oh, so I said it on the radio yesterday, mate. I was like, so when I joined Rangers as someone that had never, like, I'd played in a cup final, and it was a boyhood dream for me to win a cup for Hibs, and it still sticks in the back of my throat that I never. But we'd played in that cup final where we beat Celtic in the quarterfinals. I'd scored the winner. Luckily, it was my first professional goal. Beat Rangers at penalties semi-final, and then we get beat off Livingston. And then obviously when I moved to Rangers, Hibs had won the CIS Cup against Kelly 2007, and I missed it. Obviously they'd won 5-1. And it was a gutter for me, if you know what I mean. Even though you've joined a new club, you've got new aspirations. But when I joined that club, mate, Sandy Jardine in reception, like a legend, like proper legend. You walk along the corridor and you pass John Gregg, the greatest ever Ranger. You walk in the kit room and you pass Jimmy Bell. Your manager's Walter Smith. You've got Coisty, Durante as part of the staff. Barry Ferguson was our captain. Like, the place was littered with winners, with standards, and I was a young boy that was a sponge, that was desperate to learn and desperate to look around and think I wanted a bit of what they were getting. I wanted to be them.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think the players look at like Sean and that and think...
I think they'll have utmost respect for them for what they've achieved. There will be the odd... Listen, you get the odd player that will think, couldn't care what they've done.
Do you think that's the reason why that helps that experience, or do you think it's because they know what to say to the players?
I think that'll help, because it's hard to put yourself in a position to say that this is what it takes, this is what it feels like to win a title when you've not won one. But listen, to get that, you then have to go and win it. Do you know what I mean? So I had to go and win it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the boys that we played, we had to go and win it. We were just lucky that the people that I've just mentioned above were like, they had already done it so many times themselves. So when this scenario never happened for us as players, where you had 3 teams going for the title, but that would be the one concern I think for Hearts and Rangers, is they've not got as many people supporting their team that know what it takes to get over the line. And listen, the only way they're going to get over the line and change that is be shown the personality to be able to go against all the odds and get there, because nobody would have gave Hearts a hope in hell at the start of the season. Nobody gave Rangers a hope in hell when Russell Martin got sacked, yet both teams have found themselves in a position that they can go and win the title, which is brilliant for obviously us as a podcast, but brilliant for Scottish football.
Nice. Brilliant. So the next question, the Football Explorer, if you could relive any 24 hours in your careers, what would it be?
It would have to be the Barcelona game for me. The home game, the whole build up to the Champions League nights and going and beating that level of player. The whole feel about it was 125th anniversary of Celtic that day. So the whole feel of the day was like we could maybe do something here, something special. Even though you go 1-0 up, you think, oh no, we've probably just annoyed them and rattled their cage, and then
made them angry.
Aye. Oh no, we've made them angry here. So, and then you go and score the second, and you think we could get something here, and then I think Lennon famously turned around and said, I'd take a draw when we made it 2-0, and then we managed to hang on and beat them, and you think, you just beat them, I got a chance of qualifying for the last 16. And just that whole build. I used to love the Champions League games because there was less expectation than the league games, so I always felt a bit more relaxed. Travelling to the game, I really looked forward to it. Sometimes I would travel to league games and I was like, aye.
Well, like sitting on the bus?
I'd be quite happy if the game get cancelled.
That's mad.
Mad, aye.
I can't believe you had the career that you had and the player you were, and you had that doubt.
Have you never heard Schmeichel saying driving to games wanting the bus to crash?
What's Schmeichel?
Peter Schmeichel used to drive to games and hope the bus crashed.
That's mad.
Did you never get anxious like that?
Aye, but no, I wanted to play. Aye. Maybe because I had loads of injuries, mate. I maybe know that I valued games any different for you or you did, but I just always felt really privileged that I was sitting on a bus going to a stadium that was going to be full, and I was getting paid to play football for a big club, and I just loved playing football.
So I remember my best ever game for Celtic. I scored 2 at Rugby Park. I set up 2 in the first half, scored 2 in the first half, and my best ever game, we won the league that day 6-0. 3 stands at Easter Kilmarnock full Rugby Park. I remember driving to the bus, the game, going like anxious and stressed and overthinking it, and then see once I chopped somebody in the first 5 minutes, I was away, I was buzzing, and then I scored a header early for the corner, and then
I hated the build up and how long it took. I just wanted to wake up in the morning and go and play.
Aye. I would have loved that.
I hated. I could be bored with pre-match and eating chicken and pasta, especially like the early kickoffs, man. Sitting, having to get chicken and pasta down you at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Just wanted to have a bowl of cereal, mate, and play. I
would have loved. I think I'd have played longer if somebody could have said, right, see, just turn up here at 10 to 3.
And play.
Have a stretch and just go and play. And then see some weeks if you don't feel like it, just phone up and say,
Didn't he come today?
I'm not coming today. I'm going somewhere else. I'm playing golf
see
or
you next
something.
week.
Aye, but I might see you next week. I do that with 35s now.
Brilliant.
Aye, they get the manager will message me maybe the Thursday or Friday. You playing tomorrow? I'll let you know later tomorrow or no, or I'll play. You know, I just prefer that much more laid back way.
Brilliant. I can't think of 20. I ken that guy that's asked that. Used to work with my dad. Aye, 24 hours for me. That was the question, wasn't it?
Aye.
What would you relive if for one moment?
Aye.
I still think like making my debut is like something that I'll never forget. But then you have like the build up to a European Cup final, but then you then finishes with disappointment. So I'm going to go and say that, and it wasn't the biggest achievement, but scoring my first goal against Celtic in the League Cup Thursday night, Terry Butcher, and I don't know who was commentating on the game. It was on the games used to be on 5 Live, so it was Thursday night, and obviously that was the big hitter Celtic team. Them all, Larson, Lennon's, Sutton's, Liam Miller actually played in that. He was just breaking through. Rest his soul, Liam. But Stan Petrov, so I mean Paul Lambert, like proper Celtic team, and we didn't probably carry any hope really, that young Hibs team, but I scored the winner, volley for the edge of the box, and we used to have a pub in Peebles called the Keg, and Thursday night was the night that everybody used to go to. It was like up these stairs and the windows looked onto Peebles High Street, and it's probably the one time, because you score the winner and you're a local lad and obviously everybody wants to see you do well, the boozer was bouncing, and there was a big supporters club. Actually, my mate owns the pub called the Crown Hotel. It was renowned. It wasn't, but it was renowned for being a Celtic pub, and a lot of the guys I'd grew up with and knew my dad, etc. But I have to say that even though they were obviously maybe messing up my blonde spiky hair or whatever, saying you're a wee bugger for scoring against us, but probably that moment. She didn't get many of the moments as a player where it's all about you, do you? If you're no a goal scorer or you're no kind of guy that's always getting man of the matches, a guy that's always getting interviewed on the telly because they scored a winner or whatever, it's not something that I had loads of, and especially knowing my younger career. So maybe that first professional goal, mate, would be
that's just triggered a wee memory in me as well. So we beat Rangers 2-0 at Ibrox, and I get in the team. I've told the story before. I get named in the team out of nowhere, and we won. And I remember going out locally, and there was people that I'd went to school with and all that in this place, and I had a couple of beers and that. I remember thinking, like, dreamt of that moment of maybe playing for Celtic and beating Rangers, and then having that sort of night where you could go and sort of enjoy it.
Cool, isn't it?
Aye, it's good.
What did you do the night you scored against Celtic? What was your plans that night?
I got glassed up the tune. Cheers, Dave.
I didn't actually know that.
I got a glass bounced off my head in the grass market. Off a Celtic.
I think you've told that, didn't you? Yeah.
Was that after that game?
After that game,
It would have been a Rangers fan that done it. It wouldn't have been a Celtic fan.
It was I bounced the tumbler off. It was Stephen Fletcher's 21st birthday party. I mean the girls had.
That'd have been a Hearts fan. That's what it'd have been.
That would have been you.
That'd have been a Hearts fan. That's what I'm getting.
They try to throw it at you. Missed you and hit me in the head.
Sounds like a Hearts fan. That.
So the next question, loads of people have been asking this, and I'll try and condense it into something. So, what do you think of the situation with VAR in Scotland? Because they've not got the funding to be able to see these offsides and stuff like that, would you rather they didn't have it?
This is Dave's question, isn't it? Stinks a Dave question. Says isn't it? Look at him. He's like that as well. Everybody wants to ask this. Nobody wants to hear it apart from Dave. For me, they need to get the technology right.
Aye. That's the key, isn't it?
Spend a bit more money. Like that Rangers one yesterday. Was the ball out of play? We need a camera on the line to conclusively confirm that it was in or it was out. Now, having seen some Falkirk fans' mobile phone on somebody's put it on Twitter, it looks like it's in, clearly, unless there's a bit of AI involved, which I think there probably is. Nah, I don't think there is. I think it's in.
I thought with the angle that we were at, I thought because he played it with his left foot and it was obviously an outswinger. rather than an in-swinger, obviously because he's a righty playing with his left. I thought it had, because of the wind was swirling, plus the reaction of the Falkirk players, and John McGlynn was really angry with his players. I thought I had a chance of being out just because of how loopy it was, but obviously I've seen the same footage that you've seen for obviously a Falkirk fan, which is pretty much almost in line with the official that should be looking if the ball goes out to play or no. So the fact that he never flagged for it to be out, and then obviously then it goes to VAR and obviously inconclusive, so the on-field result stands. But I think unless it's collective, that all the camera angles are in place and the same the same camera angles in every ground are consistent.
Yes.
So you get a fair reflection of VAR in every ground that you play in the Premier League. But also I think it needs sharpened up in the respect of like the communication between Willie Comler, whoever the guy is doing the VAR for that specific game. So we didn't then lose the celebration part, the bit that everybody enjoys, the excitement, the hustle bustle of the game, because the stop-start part frustrates me a wee bit.
Because if we keep getting errors like the Hearts penalty, we're as well just going back to never, because you're still getting the human error.
Well, human error, I think sometimes like, it leaves you the debate of, but now you're debating on a human error and a rule book that sometimes we're still scratching our head a wee bit that whether that's a penalty or no.
So the rule book looks clear as day to me, so I don't know what the issue is. Maybe that's not the correct rules or whatever. I don't know. Looks clear to me.
It's like even I don't know if you've seen the Falkirk one. I'm just trying to, like, off the tip of my tongue think who it was. Just trying to think what happened. Was it Magoma? I think it was Magoma, mate. Has a tackle. I'm sure it's Magoma. Somebody will tell me I'm wrong. But the same incident, never a red card, but somebody nicked the ball off I think it was somebody nicked the ball off Magoma. He took a touch, he went to play it, nicks the ball, and it's somewhere inside the Rangers half. He's got 60 yards at least to run towards the goal. Obviously, only 5-10 yards further forward, we've seen Liam Henderson getting sent off. We've seen the one on Robbie Muirhead at Livingston, Leonard getting sent off. So we've seen these scenarios, and I'm not saying that's exactly the same because obviously it was further up the pitch. We've seen Trusty at Tynecastle, closer to the goal, and I think the frustration for the fan when it comes to VAR is like, I think it just maybe has to be a wee bit more specific. That listen, I'm not saying Magoma one because for me it's just a yellow card. He gets his pocket picked, but there's nothing to say that the Falkirk lad couldn't have drove all the way down the line and got a goal scoring opportunity. It was centralised a wee bit. It was maybe just not quite in the left back area, kind of pointing at the board a wee bit. It's like it was kind of in this area, mate, and he just nicked it. He took a touch. He obviously went to play it, and Falkirk player anticipated it. Pushes past him. He's got a million miles to go to get to influence Jack Butland's goal, but I think that's a wee bit the frustration of the fans, where it's like you see the Muirhead one at Livingston, Leonard gets sent off, you see Trusty, you see Liam Henderson getting sent off against, I think it was Dundee United a couple of months back or whatever, just being a wee bit more, because you know that this scenario, the one that obviously you're frustrated with, the Hearts one, that's going to happen again in the coming weeks,
and it's consistency,
and it's going to be different, isn't it?
So there's human error in everything, even with VAR, but I think more consistent with it. The handball's a big one for me as well. Just get the consistency for me. Get it better.
What was your opinion on the Magoma challenge? What would you have given?
The Magoma challenge, what the one we just spoke about? No, I don't think. I think it's too far away for the goal. There's too much recovery to be done there. Okay. I don't think it's a sending off.
I've actually not seen it back, Dave, but my initial thought was it's just a yellow card. He just had his pocket picked. I'm presuming Giega and Fernandez. Was it Tav? Was it? I presume they would. Aye. So it was only. My point being is that like a Falkirk fans maybe, Liam Henderson got sent off for obviously slightly different scenario, obviously, but it just goes back to that word you use, just a consistency that it's that people would get less frustrated with the decisions if it was more consistent.
Yeah.
Cool. Cheers. So here's one from Chris Docherty.
What are you going to say, Christoph Berra there?
Christoph Berra.
Let's see the Chris Docherty. Let's see. Is that you got a profile there?
Profile.
That's not the Chris Docherty for the SFA.
That's not.
Nah.
It doesn't look like it for some reason.
Right.
So
he's away for the SFA, Chris Docherty, isn't he?
Okay, so the question is, why do you think Martin O'Neill and Fozzie were watching the Preston game last week? Are they doing potential scouting? It makes me think that both of them are they could both be involved next season, would you have Martin O'Neill as part of the board and Fozzie as part of the scouting department? And do you know anything about that situation?
Don't know anything about that situation. You'd imagine if they're watching Preston. What game was it?
It just said Preston.
So if they were watching a random Preston game, they're obviously looking at a player. They've been asked to look at a player by somebody. I don't know. I'd imagine between Sean Maloney, Fotheringham, Martin O'Neill, there'll be one or two of them still left. Whether it's on the board, I heard Fozzie brings so much to the team in terms of energy and the coaching field. So I'd imagine that they could be people that would stay. And I don't see why not. I mean, Martin O'Neill can offer... I would like to see Martin O'Neill on the board as a football person on the board. I'd like to see that. I think that would be needed. He's a bridge between the fans and the board. I think he's done that really well. And I think he can add to it now. Whether it's somebody's asked him to go and look, it must have been somebody's asked him to go and look at a player to give their expert eye on it.
I never seen it, mate, so I wouldn't know what player they were looking at. But it does seem a bit bizarre that they'd ask him to go to watch a game if he wasn't then going to influence the decision off the back of it, unless they were just picking up a game.
Exactly.
So, but I agree with you with Fozzie. I know I've never worked with Fozzie, but when you think his enthusiasm, his experience, he's been a manager, championship obviously level. I know he's really tight with Kenny Miller, someone that I've got a lot of respect for. Kenny, and they're a bit like us. They love football, and it doesn't surprise me that the players warm to somebody like Fozzie with his enthusiasm, and maybe he's found his role, because I know he was a assistant stroke first team coach when he was in Germany. Maybe being the figurehead is what obviously his long term plan would be, but maybe landing at a club like Celtic, which is obviously one that he loves being at. Maybe it's a wee match made in having that experience of the player that he was. Having the experience of being a number one, and then working under someone like Martin O'Neill.
I think it all depends who the new manager is as well. I mean, the new manager's got his staff that he brings in, and Fozzie's no part of that, then he won't be there. But if there's room for a manager to inherit some staff, like Ange Postecoglou come in when nobody inherited people there, if there's good people there, then why not keep them?
Cool. Right, okay, last question for today then. So Kevin, you said you think Rangers will win the league. Charlie, what about you?
Like I've said for weeks now, it's Hearts' title to lose. For me, Hearts are sitting with the title, and it's theirs to lose. I think you need a crystal ball to know who's going to win the league. Rangers are free-flowing and scoring goals. They look the team that can go and score 3 and 4 and 5 in a game. Celtic limping but getting results. Hearts getting a wee bit of luck with the penalty and getting results, but it's theirs to lose.
And do you firmly believe that if Hearts didn't win the league, they've had a bad season?
Yep. If Hearts don't win the league for this position, they'll be very disappointed.
Obviously.
Aye, they'll be devastated. So,
but
my point.
That's a failure.
So you're sitting in a lounger, right? Pick a Hearts player, right? We Cammy Devlin, right? Sitting in a lounger, and you got me go right. He loses it in the last day of the season. You say, "All right, wee man, good season for you, eh?" What does he say? He goes like, he might not say it in his mind. He's going, "Get out of my face."
So close to so far.
Aye, but we've come to this point with 5 games to go.
You'd even get a runners-up medal when you come second in the league too. Not that you'd want you in, but
no, I mean, I think we'd be doing Derek McInnes, we'd be doing the Hearts players an injustice, the Hearts fans an injustice if we gave them a wee patronising thumbs up for finishing second. There's 5 games to go. Let's see what you're made of.
I didn't think we can take you, Gorgie, mate.
You're in with the
I give you a security risk.
They're in with it. If you want to bend with the big boys, right, you take the disappointment with the big boys, you take it in your chin, you move on to next season. But for them right now, it's their title, theirs to lose. And that they can't be beat at home.
They've got hard fixtures though, to be fair to them.
Same fixtures as everybody else.
I know, but tricky. No, I just mean that that's why I think Rangers are favourites. But listen, Rangers have got they've all got tricky fixtures because they're all going to obviously play against each other. That's obvious. But I think if Hearts, what Dave had mentioned earlier, if Hearts can go to Easter Road and win, and then go to Ibrox and beat Rangers at Tynecastle, it'll put them in I cannot see them faltering, mate. But
this is what I mean. So you're
the
asking
big
me.
bit for me is I'm not so sure they're going to do that.
Aye. So that's why they're so close. They've got one hand on it.
But surely they're a brilliant club. But for the season that they've had, they'll beat the Cups. We've mentioned it numerous times on the podcast. Like, to be still in an unbelievable position with 5 games to go, whether they get over the line or didn't get over the line, it still has to be a good season for them. Like the energy and the excitement that this Hearts team have gave the fans this year is what they've not had for many moons.
All right, they'll get a wee pat in the back.
This has been the best season in Scottish football
It's
ever.
been brilliant, and that's why Hearts deserve so much credit, because they've brought that to this season. They deserve a lot of credit. Dermot McInnes deserves a lot of credit. The recruitment department deserves a lot of credit. It's theirs to lose.
I think that's us for this week.
Thanks for joining us again. Brilliant, Tomo.
Amazing, mate. Enjoy it.
Join us next week. Get your questions in.